and welcome to Movie Couple Live. This is a show where we talk about the latest in pop culture and movie news. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And welcome to Saturday. It's today.
Today is
Yes,
Saturday. I
nailed
reminded
it.
you earlier too.
I know, and I'm not good with days anymore. They just all blend together. But you guys, welcome to the show. So much to talk about today. Of course, naturally, spoiler discussion for episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
We're also going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League being released for a limited time in theaters.
And what would be a movie couple show without trailer talk? We're going to talk about the Red Band trailer for the Suicide Squad, all this and more on today's show. Thank you all so much for hanging out, for being with us today. We hope you've had a great week. Before we dive into topics, just a little bit of housekeeping rules, because on Saturdays, we do talk about Falcon and the Winter Soldier spoilers, but we save that for the later half of the show, so that for those who haven't seen the show yet, if you're not caught up, it gives you more time to catch up. So that's why we put the spoiler discussion at the end, so you can watch the news and pop culture news discussion and conversation, so you get a little bit of that interaction before you kind of part ways, because you don't want to hear about spoilers. Or if you don't care about spoilers, by all means, stay tuned. But we would also like to ask everyone who is currently watching in the chat just to be aware of posting spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, just to kind of be nice to the people who haven't had a chance to watch it. But we will dive into that later on, later half of the show. So we will definitely be doing that. But you guys, how was your week?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of exciting stuff to go on this week to talk about,
And if you guys haven't noticed,
we gotta
go
see
Godzilla versus Kong shirts. We got to see the film last night at a really cool drive-in. It was at the Paramount Drive-In. I want to say that's the full title of the location, but it was really cool. So thank you for all the folks who helped us attend the event. It was a lot of fun. It's like my 5th drive-in, I think.
We've actually been to a lot. I mean, it's weird that, we haven't been to a drive-in for so many years, and then all of a sudden we see New Mutants, we saw the Chicago 7, we saw what else did we saw? We saw that documentary
on the coronavirus,
on the
handling
completely
of the
under control or something.
Right, totally under control. What else?
We saw Kong.
And the Croods too. Such a good time. That was at Universal. Yeah, that was.
I have to admit, out of all of the ones that we went to, the Croods 2, with the way they did their drive-in experience, I think was one of the best ones that we had been to. That's also because they also gave us a lot of free stuff. Kong versus Godzilla was pretty good too.
Look, it's not about the free stuff, but I do
popcorn.
Like the you mean concession.
They gave us like free food.
He doesn't mean free stuff. You meant concession. You gotta be clear and concise.
Sorry
with your choice of words here.
My apologies.
But what we liked about the Croods is that as we drove in through the queue, they set up a really nice photo experience, a drive-in experience where you got to stop, and there were photo ops, obviously all within your car and safely distanced. And they did that for Godzilla versus Kong as well. And you guys know, like, we've been talking about, seeing these two titans go head to head in this movie. Like, are you #team Kong, #team Godzilla? Like, you guys know I'm a Godzilla girl, so why am I sitting here wearing a Kong shirt? Honestly, it is really, really hard to pick between the two, because while I love Godzilla and I think he's like menacing, I think he's brutal, I think in this movie, I felt like Kong is a heart of the movie in a sense.
Yeah.
And it's in any case, it's really hard to pick between the two. But they also kind of, as we drove up, because we didn't really have any sort of specific like signage on the on our cars to be like, yeah, we're Team Godzilla or whatever. Like, we didn't have to. I wanted to actually make posters, but I ran out of time naturally, because my time management skills has not been great this year. I think had we done that, they would have seen it and been like, okay, Team Godzilla. But I think they were just trying to, expedite the people
just like
coming
go.
So they're like,
they actually had 2 different screens going, one facing one way, one facing the other way. So they were like trying to like bring people in this way, and it was a lot of motion going on at this.
There was a lot of coordination, which was all done flawlessly. Like it was like a perfect Storm, just the way it moved. I was like, this is fantastic. But anyways, we were assigned Team Kong. I'm not gonna complain because I love Kong just as much as I love Godzilla a little bit more. But it's really hard to pick between the two. So our review for that movie will be up on Monday. It'll be a non-spoiler review, and then for the spoiler review, we'll put that up sometime Wednesday or Thursday of next week on our Patreon. So if you're a Patreon supporter on the $3 tier, you will get to see that very, very soon up on the channel. Hashtag Andrew says hashtag Team Denzel. Honestly, it's not about Godzilla
Team Navi
or Khan. It's really about Team Navi. How could you not? We need Team Navi shirts. Why don't we have that?
Oh my gosh, we so need to do that.
Team Navi shirts.
Team Navi shirts.
I'll see if I can get some made up for us. That'll be so cute.
My little puppy.
And we'll wear them on the stream. I think that'll be adorable. If we made Team Navi shirts, would you guys want one? Would you guys be like, no, pass?
I think that would be hilarious if we were actually able to get like Godzilla and King Kong, and then have and then have like a little image of Navi.
It should just look really cute, and then we can have heart eyes for Godzilla and Kong, because if they were fighting, they would be fighting over Navi because she's just too cute and worth fighting for. Can you tell we're just slightly obsessed with our dog?
Just a little,
Starju says Team Cap as always. Oh my gosh. It's funny.
I always love how like movies do that. When they have two sides that people are cheering for that are fighting each other. What side are you on? Pick your team. Team Cap. Team
Iron Man.
Team Iron Man.
I remember that.
I still think it's really sad though that when you really look at what's happened to Team Iron Man, you're just like, ooh, maybe it's a good thing I didn't pick Team Iron Man, kind of a thing.
That's funny. 4 here writes, LOL, you guys are Team Kong and the rejects are Team Godzilla. Did they go last night?
Oh, they might have.
I'll check later. I don't want to check my social while we're talking to our movie bunch. But you guys, talking about lots of stuff going on today, but we also have a couple of new videos that's up on the channel for you to check out if you haven't already. Right before we went live, I dropped the trailer reaction we did for Them, which is coming to Amazon Prime Video, and it is creepy AF. Check it out. You'll see both of us cringe a lot in the trailer because it made us uncomfortable, as it probably was intended to do. And of course, our trailer reaction for the Red Band trailer of the Suicide Squad, which is so good. And so not only we got a Red Band trailer for the Suicide Squad, we also got some character posters and other posters alike. Now, this is not all the posters. There were a lot, so I just grabbed a couple. And here, obviously, you can see Bloodsport, King Shark with his hands down his side, Harley Quinn, Polka Dot Man, and Savant. So, and I know there's so many more because I believe each character got their own character poster. So you can have it all. You don't have to choose. Well, I guess you have to choose, but you don't have to. You can.
I guess we could also do that for Suicide Squad. Are you Team Harley, Team King Shark?
I am Team King Shark all the way. I love you, Harley, but man, it's the King Shark in the trailer. I thought was great.
I thought he really did steal that trailer, and he only really had and hand, and that's it. That's all he said, and yet he still kind of stole that trailer.
Honestly, that is like, I feel like that is all you need. That is all you need for a while. At least I was satisfied with King Shark. I love, and we talked about this, we love that they dropped a Red Band trailer.
Oh, me too.
Like, no doubt going into this movie what kind of a tone they are going for in this film. And if you couldn't tell by the end of the trailer, then you should probably rewind and watch it again, because it is all, this film is going to be bananas. I feel like this is like the Suicide Squad we deserve.
Yes, I mean, and that's kind of, the Suicide Squad is kind of a ridiculous kind of idea that you're like, who thought of this? Why would you do this kind of a thing? And it's just, I love the fact that that James Gunn is just taking this idea and just the chaoticness and just the silliness of it, and just, he's like, he's embracing it.
Right.
He's just taking the vibrant colors, and he's taking the really weird villain ideas, Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is awesome. And James Gunn is just definitely the guy to be able to pull this kind of craziness off.
It's going to be so much fun. I also don't want to get invested in some of the characters because I see who just wrote that. Oh no, somebody wrote this. Hold on. Blade writes, Polka Dot Man, I bet he's gonna last through the whole movie. I mean, I kind of feel like he could be right here because he's in a lot of the footage where we're not seeing as many footage for other characters.
Good point.
So
Yeah, which
I
we
feel like
all
the
know.
less we see of them, the less time they'll have on screen. But that could also be like a bait and switch kind of a deal.
True. One thing, as soon as you said that though, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of, and I was like, Nathan Fillion's character.
As Justin puts,
no!
50-50 shot. I gotta agree with Justin. I feel like, yeah.
As soon as you say
he was drinking that Mr. Pibb in the trailer, I think.
But that's all we saw of him. We did not get to see that much of him. And I'm just like,
10 minutes.
I know he's going to be, after he drinks that Mr. Pibb soda, he's like,
he could have like the Kevin Hart cake effect from Jumanji. Cake?
Weakness cake?
I'm okay.
Boom.
I
would be so mad.
Yeah. And speaking of Suicide Squad, we have a super chat from Justin here. Justin, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Justin writes, do you have any thoughts on WB saying they won't release the Ayer cut? I love to see David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Never say never. We would love to see it too. I know I would. I feel like there's a lot more to explore with certain characters. I definitely felt like Katana could have had more scenes. There could have been a little bit more to dig into all the various characters. What I really wanted to see with, let's say, whatever cut they left on the cutting room floor took away from the chemistry and the team.
Yeah.
Like the team member connect, how am I trying to say, the chemistry essentially also, between the team members.
And also when you really look at that Suicide Squad movie, it really does look like it was hacked up a bit, kind of a thing. The way that the editing was, the way that it really did seem like it was very much a music video kind of a thing, to where, they would have sharp cuts. They would bring in a lot of like the special, like a lot of like effects. How can I say this? When they were introducing the characters, there were a lot of cuts of, now we're going to pan to like this music video kind of moment where they're introducing Harley Quinn and Deadshot. And it makes you wonder just how much was cut out, how much is there that hasn't been seen, and how much work would it take to kind of piece this back together and get a whole new cut out of it.
I mean, I know WB, just like Justin saying here in the super chat, that they've kind of put the kibosh on it already, that they won't be doing it. But I'm again also thinking, like he said, never say never. Like we kind of said for years that we wouldn't get a Snyder cut. And I'm not saying that's going to be the model now. Fans call for it and then the studios are going to give it. Like, I feel like it's a very different scenario with the Snyder cut. But again, I would like to also think never say never, even if it's 10 years down the line,
no,
we get it.
True.
Fine. Just to kind of see the director's vision fully realized.
I think with the Snyder cut, there was a big thing that happened. It was just the fact that so many people got behind it. So many people hopped onto that petition, but to that like, bandwagon.
Was it like a change.org or something?
Yeah, onto the hashtag in a sense. And it was so overwhelming. WB was just like, why would we ignore this?
Yeah.
We know there's an audience out there for it. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. I think you would need that kind of a response to get that cut of Suicide Squad too.
Yeah.
So unless everyone started to really just pour in a lot of interest into it, I think it's going to fall to the wayside a lot. And also, if this new Suicide Squad, if this new Suicide Squad does amazingly well, everyone's going to forget about that other one.
Well, I hope not.
Not forget about it, but people are going to be like, okay,
they'll
we're
be
now
focused on this new one. Yeah. It's kind of like a soft reboot, if you will.
Exactly.
In a way.
And I think that's great. Honestly, I'll say it every single time. I love how Warner Brothers is just kind of like, let's just make good movies.
Let's just make movies. Justin also says, fun fact, the actor who played Polka Dot Man, David Tasmalchian, went to my college.
Oh, hey.
That's cool. He's a cool dude. I got to meet him a couple of times during my time at Collider. Really nice dude. He's also in Ant-Man.
Oh yeah,
as well as Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's in
both of them. He's one of Ant-Man's buddies.
Yeah. Well, they started as like not the henchmen, but they kind of like worked together as a squad.
Yeah.
When they were thieving. You
Well, yeah,
know.
they were very much the
And now they're like a security company, aren't
mhm.
they? That's great. I love that. Love that
We
for
used to
him.
break into your homes, but now we're going to help you make sure no one else can. And
Because we
honestly,
know all the tricks.
because we know all the tricks. I mean, it's exactly what happened to the guy. I can't remember the real life character's name in Catch Me If You Can, the one that Leonardo DiCaprio
Mm-hmm.
played. That's what happened to him. You know, he knew how to write all these checks. He knew all of this techniques and all these skills. And the FBI is
Forgery.
like, why make an illegal living? We'll pay you to help us stop other people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay,
Yep.
sounds
Exactly.
good to me.
Well, from one DC movie to the next, we're going to talk just really quickly about Zack Snyder's Justice League that is going to hit theaters for a limited amount of time. So it's not like a wide release where it's going to be everywhere. So
Mhm.
during an interview with, I believe it was Cinema Blend, he teased the current plans to bring his 4-hour epic to IMAX screens, which could debut alongside 2 other films that complete the filmmaker's trilogy. And the quote from the interview is, "They've given me a handful of charity screenings in IMAX. So as we go forward, I am going to do a handful of charity screenings, a couple in color, a couple in black and white, Justice League Gray. We know that that's coming. And that's my plan as we head into the fall with Nerd Queens. We really want to do he said Zack Con 2 or Snyder Con 2. I believe they called it Snyder Con 2, which I
Yeah,
kind of like because it's kind of like Snyder Cut, Snyder Con.
it works.
Yeah, and we watched a little bit of that too. So it was like really
Oh
nice
yeah.
interview and just like a big fan appreciation, all sharing the love for his film, his vision, the characters, that he put on the stories that he told. So looking forward to that. And of course, if it goes towards charity, like it's all for a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if in like well not it's not an if. I think they are gonna do it, just when exactly they're going to do it. And I think kind of funny in our news, it's like we have 3 very DC heavy topics
Yeah.
because we're also talking about Pierce Brosnan. Is that how you Brosnan? Brosnan. Oh,
Oh,
I'm
Pierce
saying that
Brosnan.
Brosnan.
I always
Sure.
kind of
Sorry.
honestly,
I've
it's one
never
of
been able
those
to pronounce
Gal
his name
Gadot,
correct.
Gal Gadot, to where no one really
Yeah.
knows, kind of thing. Even if you hear Gal Gadot say it,
Yeah.
it's still kind of like people. You'll still have people say it the other way.
It's true. But he has been cast as Dr. Fate in Black Adam. So he will be playing opposite Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And I believe this is like his first. I know he's been James Bond for a while
Yeah,
as well,
I think he
but
did
this is,
3 James Bond movies.
and I think this is his first foray into superhero films, right?
Maybe I think
We think
so.
so.
I don't think he's played any. I don't think he's been in either the DC or MCU. There might
Yeah.
have been some other small comic book movie that he was in, but I think was his first one, a
This is going
first
to
big.
be
And
awesome.
I think that's awesome. I think for Doctor Fate, that is a very good character for. I mean, Pierce Brosnan like character.
He's
They
gonna
kind of
crush
play.
it. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be great. So he'll be joining the cast as well. We have Aldous Hodge, who is going to play Hawkman. We have obviously Noah Centineo as Adam Smasher and Contessa Swindell as Cyclone. Super excited for this lineup. And actually, Dustin pulled up this. I gotta find it, but he found this. We believe this is by Boss Logic, Mr. Graphic Genius over here. A little
I
fan
love
art
this.
of
I
Pierce
think it's
Brosnan
so
as
cool looking.
as Dr. Fate. Let us know in the chat, in the comments, how psyched you are for the Black Adam movie and to kind of know, that this is now, because we've been talking, you especially been talking about, like, wouldn't it be cool to see Dr. Fate? Wouldn't it be cool to see Dr. Fate?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like you, in a way, like you yelled it out to the universe amongst the other fans. It's like, we need a Dr. Fate. And they're like, well, here you go. Boop.
And start bringing in some of these characters. You don't, I mean, for the longest time, it's like, well, if you want to have Dr. Fate, you have to make a Dr. Fate movie,
Yes.
kind of a thing. And now it's like, no, let's get some of the more well-known characters and then bring in some of these other characters so we can make movies about them later, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I just love that DC is doing this, that they're bringing in more characters. They're starting to expand their universes. And I want to hear this. I want to see this Black Adam movie so bad.
Yes.
It has been hyped even before the Shazam movie kind of thing. And I want to see The Rock. I want to see this ancient story of Black Adam and him being kind of the first Shazam. And it just sounds, and to be able to introduce Dr. Fate.
Yeah.
And this is the good way to introduce it because it is very much the world of magic. kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So just being
Yeah.
able to expand the universe, and
Super
if they're doing
excited.
a limited release of Zack Snyder's Justice League and they sell out on all of those, then you can start bringing in some more of these characters. It's just, it gets you hoping.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It definitely does. And I think Adnan Kabir asked if we think that Shazam is going to be in the Black Adam movie. I feel like
Probably
it
not.
makes sense, but maybe as a post credit. I
Yeah.
think right now they do have a lot of character. If like Hawkman's in it, Cyclone's in it, Adam Smasher's in it, plus Black Adam, plus Ultra Fate, that's a lot. So if Shazam, it would make sense for him to appear, but I feel like they would save that for.
Well, I think the Shazam storyline is going to be taking place far, 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 far in the past, to where, because I remember during DC Fandom, they were, Dwayne the Rock Johnson came out and he was talking about the story of Black Adam, and it was pretty much kind of like, what is that, a Scorpion King time period. And so I think that's where most of the story is going to take place, and then maybe a little bit of it will take place in modern time. But I think if they do bring in Shazam, it will be at the very end in a post-credits, at the very end, or in a post-credit scene.
Yeah. Well, I guess
but those are just my humble opinions.
Yeah. Or theories.
Yeah.
So I guess we will see when the movie comes out, if it'll happen, if it won't happen. Let's see. Star Drew writes, if we have a favorite Pierce Brosnan movie, Pierce Brosnan movie.
Oh,
probably one of the Bond films.
I'd have to say, well, one of my favorites is GoldenEye.
GoldenEye
is one of my.
I take back what I just said, and I'm going to say that. Yeah,
GoldenEye is one of my favorites. Because he was the new James Bond at the time. It had been a while since we had a James Bond. And I think for me at the age that I was, hit that perfect note of new James Bond, new gadgets, and I just thought he did an amazing job as Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, he does. He is 100% great at playing Pierce Brosnan.
Yes, he is.
James Bond. Jack in the chat is asking, how come a hashtag Game of Thrones is in today's, I guess, in the show description, in the description below this video. Well, Jack, we're going to get to that right now. George R.R. Martin has signed a 5-year deal with HBO, which is really, really, really exciting. And I have the article up here. It is an exclusive on the Hollywood Reporter. So it looks like it's a long-term deal. It's worth mid-8 figures. Holy, oh my God.
8?
That's a lot.
We're never going to get the books finished.
We're never going to. I know he's currently writing, and he's still writing, but he's busy playing executive producer. He's not going to have time to finish the books. But just to kind of give you a hint at what he is going to be working closely with, the House of Dragons. This is set 300 years before the events in the Game of Thrones, and it tells the story of House Targaryen back when Daenerys' ancestors ruled Westeros. So that's going to be an interesting one. The Nymeria Project. This revolves the warrior queen Nymeria, a revered ancestor of House Martell, who founded the kingdom of Dorne. We have the Sea Snake, and this is a working title of 9 voyages from the Rome creator Bruno Heller, and follows Lord, I'm gonna totally butcher this name, Corlys, oh God, Valerian?
Corlys
Valerian, sure, aka the Sea Snake. We have Flea Bottom, and this is set in the notorious King's Landing slum of Flea Bottom. Duncan Egg, we've talked about this a little bit, and this is based on his popular novellas, and this is going to follow the adventure of Hedge Knight Sir Duncan the Tall and his squire Egg, who would later become King Aegon the Targaryen. And then we have that animated series that they have been talking about, which is great. And then another interesting thing I found in the article, I got to find it somewhere, because Game of Thrones books is not just like what he's written. He's also done a series called The Wild Cards, and this is an anthology novel that it's, I don't want to say X-Men, but like it's what I can say it's the most similar to, that I can reference to. I remember reading some of the book. I didn't finish it. I didn't get to finish it, but like this guy that I was dating in college was really into like that book, so I started, but then I didn't finish the book. But either way, this is, I think, for George R. R. Martin, it's a good thing.
Oh yeah,
For the people waiting for
that's a
his
lot of
books,
money for George.
but for the people who are waiting for the books to come out, just be like, just give us the books. They're kind of like, wait, you're doing so much. How do you have the time to executive produce all this, consult on all this, plus write? Like that's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of stuff on his plate. So we will see. Because we've been waiting for that book for a long time. Like I've stopped reading the books because I don't want to catch up,
And
and then
then
and
have
then
to
I have to
rewatch.
start over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because the book, there's so much information, so many characters, so many stories. It's a lot.
And
So
that's what I had to do for the Wheel of Time series. When I was
oh
reading it,
boy.
I got to a point and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just not going to read any of these
Mm,
until the series is complete.
yeah.
Then I will reread the entire series, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
And I'm sure there's so many people out there, so many huge fans who have been around since book one,
Yes.
who are like, just give us the book.
Give us the books.
Don't take any
Finish
more work
it.
of any more. Don't make any more money.
Yeah.
Just finish this book.
So yeah, but it's exciting news, especially if we love the whole world that he's built around the
Yeah.
Game of Thrones franchise. So this is going to be cool that the series may be over, but the stories in that whole world is not over because there's a lot more to explore. Let's
Oh,
see.
Blade. Could you imagine if? Well, yeah, if they did with. Oh, listen. If could you imagine if they did this with the Wheel of Time series? Oh yeah, if they did like an entire like the entire world building like they did it to where they had like an animated series and a story about this, they could do that, and I can't wait. Oh, the Wheel of Time stuff, I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about all the stuff they've been dropping and all the new footage, the little bit of footage,
Literally a 2-second clip.
2-second clips that we have gotten from that. But yeah, I'm excited to what they're doing with Game of Thrones. I love that world, and I'm excited to see more of it
Interesting. Yeah.
for the next 5 years.
For the next five. Wow, that's a long time. Wow. Tursney here has a super chat for us. Thank you so much. He writes, it's Saturday night with Wendy and Dustin. Got my Guinness and pretzels. Hey, do you want John Walker to stay in the MCU as U.S. agent or no? Short answer is yes.
Yes.
The short answer is yes. And we'll dive into a little bit more of that, I think, during, which is, I think, probably
yeah, we'll come
now.
back to this, to your super chat when we actually dive into.
Yes, because we only have one more topic before we dive into that. So stay around because I want to dig into that just a little bit more. And I believe we also have another super chat. This one is from Justin. Hey, thank you so much. Justin writes, do you think we will ever see a show on TV/streaming that will ever be as big as Game of Thrones was? I personally don't think so because the market is so fractured now, but who knows?
That is true.
Go ahead.
That is a good point. Honestly, I would at first when Wendy was reading the super chat, I was like, oh yeah, of course, we're going to get something that's either big or bigger. But then you bring up a really good point. There is now so many different shows and so many different streaming services out there that it's kind of like the market is I'm not going to say flooded, but to get that many people that excited about one show is going to be, I think, a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have some people that like have a whole bunch of Disney Plus stuff. You're going to have a whole bunch of people just HBO. But to be able to get everyone, Hulu, Netflix, all of these different streaming services, but to get everyone like as pumped as they were with Game of Thrones, I think is going to be a tall order. It's going to be a tall order to fill.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the other one that could really give it some competition in views and popularity and like how much it's talked about would perhaps be the Lord of the Rings series.
Lord of the Rings
because
series,
the fandom is huge for that. I know you and I are both big fans of Wheel of Time, and we know there are other fans out there, but I don't think it's as broad as the Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. Another one, if they decide to do another one, and this is all kind of in the fantasy realm, it would be the R.A. Salvatore books, The Legend of Drizzt. I call him Drizzt.
Oh yeah,
but the Dark Elf trilogy,
the Dark
Elf
that
series
would be probably something that would also get a lot of people involved because that was very popular.
But
you're squirming.
Oh well, that's your fault for bringing her up here. You knew she was squirming.
I know.
But she's so cute.
But she's so cute.
She's so cute. We can't. So yeah,
I
we
can't
will,
stand it.
and just like you said, Justin, who knows, honestly, because for me, I was aware of, the George R. R. Martin books, but I hadn't really explored much into it before I even watched the show, and it was really the
Yeah.
show that made me become passionate about reading the books. So I would like to see for the Wheel of Time series to have that effect as well. So we'll see. I think they're working hard at it. I think they've cast some really good actors to be in the series. So fingers crossed that it's gonna go really well. A bunch of super chat that just flew in, so we're gonna go ahead and get to them before we get to our next topic, and then spoiler discussion for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have a super chat from Amer. Yay! Amer writes, "I am worried that G.R.R. Martin becomes bigger than his books. Just because film adaptations are from him doesn't mean they'll be good, i.e., Fantastic Beasts." Nailed it on the nose.
That is actually a very good point.
Mhm.
I mean, there are a lot of times to where big authors get these big deals and they don't really pan out.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's also a thing that we love JRR style. So I think it's always like a flip of the coin kind of a thing, to where, yeah, all of these ideas and concepts and will pan out. I mean, same kind of thing could be said about Star Wars,
Yeah.
like, oh, why would George Lucas want to be involved in like a cartoon series or another book adaptation kind of a thing? But you got some really good stuff out of some of the other stuff that may not have been so good.
Yeah.
So I think some stuff is going to end up being cool. Some stuff might end up being absolutely terrible. But you know what? I would much rather have them shoot at it and try to hit that bullseye than not take the shot at all.
Absolutely. And then but yeah, I mean, good call with Fantastic Beasts, because I was so excited.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
so excited.
And remember, we were like, oh yeah, they're going to get like 5 more movies out of this. And then
There were
after the
parts that I
second one,
liked, but it just didn't capture me like the rest of the uh the movies did.
yeah.
And even reading the book, I was just like, it's not as like good as so.
And
Yeah.
one thing that I haven't gotten around to do yet that I still would like to do sooner or later is go to a theater and see The Cursed Child.
Oh, well, when Broadway is back.
When Broadway, yeah, when
live theater finally
when
is
live
able to
theater
come
comes
back.
back, I think that'd be a fun thing to do.
That would be fun. I would love to see that.
Because if I'm not mistaken, if it's a big production, they were saying that a lot of the special effects and the stage effects that they do are top notch.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Ooh, I can't wait. Now I'm intrigued. I want to go. We have a super chat from Jet Nelson. Thank you, Jet. Jet writes, "How do you feel about the Flag Smashers? I have a hard time connecting with them because Marvel hasn't explained what happened during the blip." You're absolutely correct. I want to lean into this a little bit more later, but to give you a quick answer, I understand that. So it may be hard to kind of sympathize with their purpose. Like, what's this all about? Is this kind of like plot device or whatever to push the story forward and this and that? I think, considering how much they brought the blip up in this show already.
Oh, yeah. In both episodes.
Yeah, in both episodes, I feel like it's before long, episode 3 or 4, we're going to see why is it that they keep talking about the blip, why things were better during the blip, or things were like this way during the blip, and now that everybody's back, everything's kind of chaotic again because now it's all these extra people, and like they weren't here for the last 5 years and now they're back, and how to handle. So that's, I feel like, to me, always a really interesting aspect. And I would really, I don't know, we don't know if they're going to show it, but I'm crossing my fingers for us to just get a little bit of a taste of that, for them to better, and kind of like what Jed's saying here, to just so it can help us not necessarily like the Flag Smashers, right? But just to kind of understand where they're coming from, what's the motivation,
and
the
honestly,
reason why they're doing
I
all
think
this.
we're going to get some flashbacks.
I think so too.
I would not be surprised, but I want to dive into that more. Don't forget I want to bring this back up when we're doing our spoilers. So why don't we attack our final topic?
Yes, final topic, and then real quick
before we move on, I want to get to these questions. I want to get to these super chats, and I want to talk spoilers
before we move on to the next topic here that you're very excited to jump into. I just want to answer this one question in the comment from Samir Tukaya. Sorry if I'm saying your name. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Who is your favorite character in Game of Thrones?
Do you want to say it on the count of 3?
Oh
because I'm
God, I
pretty sure.
have two. Okay,
Oh, two.
no, it's okay. I'll pick one.
Off the top of my head, there might be a whole bunch of characters that I really really like.
On three, on three. We don't have
Okay,
time.
like one,
1, 2, 3. Tyrion.
Tyrion.
There you go. That's that married mind
Tyrion
trick
Lan
right
I'm
there.
sorry. Peter Dinklage did such an amazing job on Tyrion Lannister. I loved him throughout the entire episode. Now, don't get me wrong. There's so many other characters that I loved as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Peter Dinklage is the one that comes to mind every single time.
Yes. And then, oh man, we got to skip one of the topics. Maybe I'll talk about it on Wednesday then. This one we got to skip.
Oh, okay.
But we'll talk about this one because Dustin and I are both huge Disney fans. It looks like Disneyland is going to expand. And that is, I remember a couple of friends texted me yesterday along with that photo that I'm about to put up on our live stream here of the expansion. And let me go ahead and take this off of the thing. So this is a concept art, but it looks like there's going to be a bit of expanding when it comes to Disneyland. So there's a website called disneylandforward.com, and the website states that the lands would include when they will expand, they will include Frozen, Peter Pan, and Tangled, which was already announced for the Tokyo Disney Fantasy Springs, as well as like a Zootopia land, I guess. And we have that right now in Shanghai Disney. I think it's announced there. Toy Story Land from Disney's Hollywood Studio, and the Tron Lightcycle Run, which is currently under construction for the Magic Kingdom. So this is really exciting because I felt that with Anaheim, the way things are structured, there's so many businesses, hotels, and XYZ that's surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's a little bit harder for the Disneyland portion to expand, whether it's rides or different lands and things like shopping experiences, things like that. Whereas opposed to Orlando, it's a little bit of a different story because they own so much land over there that they planned this out because it was the second park that they built, not the first one.
That was something, if I'm not mistaken, that Walt Disney was rather upset about, is the fact that he deliberately came to Anaheim, found this, this, I think it was an orange grove where Disneyland is now. And he was like, yeah, I built it here so that I had a whole bunch of space. But then every little space that he did not buy just got sucked up as soon as Disneyland became a huge success.
Which it totally makes sense for people to want to come in and be like, well, I want to claim this. I want to get in on this. So the plan is for the existing Toy Story parking lot that is on Harbor Boulevard, which is just across the street from the convention center, the Anaheim Convention Center, that's going to be turned into a new shopping and dining district, pretty much like a Disney Springs that's over in Florida, or like a Disney Town that's at Shanghai Disney. And so the Disneyland Forward website, it's basically Disney's effort to work with the city to grow the Disneyland resort post-pandemic. And Disney will be asking the city to approve plans to add a mix of theme parks or hotels, retail, dining, entertainment, all that stuff on the eastern and western edges of the existing Disneyland resort. I mean, for me as a consumer who love Disney, this is 100% something up my alley, something I definitely want to see, because like then we can expand our time at Disney, explore the newer parts, or just go back to, and it'll also, I think, help with the crowd.
Yeah, it's going to spread people out a little bit more, but also it's great because the timing, if they're able to get this going fast, this is also going to produce jobs. It's going to get people working. It's going to get more people more excitement about going to Disneyland and going back to our normal lives.
Yeah.
So I think this is very much a win-win, and also a win-win for the city of Anaheim. I'm excited just because, like you said, as a consumer, it's very much take my money.
I mean, we're like that when we go to Disney. We always say, like, we won't spend the money on this. Like, I do not need more merchandise. And what happens, and they're smart about it, when you exit a ride, they exit you right into a gift shop. And then they have, like the pass, or they did have like pass holder exclusive, which ironically, I actually never really bought too much of, because I never really liked the design of any of the. It's very rare that I'm like, I need this. It's very, very rare. Like I tend to want the stuff from overseas more than I do from here, which is a little sad. But their stuff is really cute.
Tokyo Disneyland had an amazing
best merch.
The best merch we've ever seen from Disney.
Yeah. All right, you guys, before we move on to our spoiler discussion for Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2, we have a final super chat from Justin who writes, how do you feel about all the controversies surrounding Joss Whedon recently? I used to love his work, but I don't mind him being a pariah in Hollywood now. His situation sort of reminds me of Rowlings, however you say it.
JK.
It's one of those things that you have to say twice just so you cover your base.
You kind of have to like say the whole. You have to say J.K. Rowlings as you say it, so it kind of just rolls off the tongue a little. You can't just say Rowlings. Or
J.K. Rowlings.
So yeah,
still can't do it. But okay, so Dustin and I are a huge fan of Buffy.
Of Firefly,
of
the Avengers.
He did Age of Ultron and the Avengers, and now there's all this, reports, people coming forward talking about, working with him was difficult. He wasn't the easiest or the nicest to work with, which is like a huge shame. But I do love that they are able to come forward and speak their truth. Ray Fisher's been doing that a lot. Charisma Carpenter, they really, like, what they did to her character on Angel was like never sat right with me, the way how that character story turned out. And now to kind of find out years later from her mouth, her experience, it's kind of like well, so I think honestly it's a real shame. But I applaud all the people coming forward to be able to bring this to light, because people, like, I think like things like that need to be talked about.
Yeah.
And there was a reason why, not to like do the comparison thing, but I think you can kind of see the way the cast worked together during in Justice League when it was Zack Snyder directing them versus when
Justice League.
What did I say?
You said
Justice League. I'm so sorry. In Justice League, when
that's what you said.
Justice League, there was a space there. In space, Justice League. In the scenes that that Snyder director versus the scenes that Joss directed, like you can kind of see like the chemistry and that, it's all like this being on set, sort of an environment.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it feels like Snyder created a very positive, warm environment, and the experience was not of that with when they were on set with Whedon. So I'm just happy that they've continued to talk about this, and I hope that like for Ray Fisher especially, he's obviously has a lot of feelings about it, and I'm so happy that he's talking about it. I think it's crap that he's kind of gotten kicked off certain movies for speaking his truth, honestly, but we're here for you, Ray Fisher.
Yeah, and it's always just a little upsetting to where when you find out that something that you love and something that you're passionate about is now has kind of this it's been tainted in a sense. It makes it a little bit less enjoyable when you go back and watch it, because that's always somewhere in the back of your mind. But everyone has the right to come out and say, hey, this was my experience. This is how I was treated on set. And number one rule of life kind of thing, don't be a dick. If you whether you're a supervisor, a director, you are any kind of person in a position of power, it's don't be a dick. Kind of a thing, or else it's gonna sooner or later kind of come back and bite you.
Kind of like what we're seeing right now, so with that said, let's go ahead and talk about, it's going to be this most awkward segue, but let's go ahead and dive into our spoiler talk for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're on episode 2 now. So exciting. Both episodes so far have clocked in at about like 49 minutes and some seconds. There's obviously a lot of a long time allotted for credits because there's so many people involved in this one, but we got to see the way this started, because I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. They actually opened the episode not with Sam or Bucky, but they actually opened with John Walker and kind of his experience being, now his new job as I feel sick saying it, the new Captain America. John Walker, new Captain America. So, but I actually liked, even though I hated on the guy, like in the first episode, I was like, I don't know about you. Like the wink at the end, like I felt, I'm not. I'm not with it. And can they stop announcing it like the new Captain America? Like just stop. But I did like that they showed us his stories just so
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of, and this is why I think to the earlier super chat asking about the Flag Smashers, that they will show their side of the story. It's just that they kind of have to, the story has to happen naturally
Yeah.
for it to get there. And it's obvious that all these players will have a big part in the whole story, that we're going to continue to see John Walker and of course the Flag Smashers throughout the film. But I did like that they gave us a little bit more of a personality behind the new mask,
Yeah.
the new helmet, if you will, to show, you know, his relationship with his either girlfriend or wife, with his best friend, and
His partner in a sense.
his partner. Yeah, but
his Bucky.
that to me was so on the nose. I was just kind of like, just because Cap had Bucky and Sam, you did not need to like have like, oh, here's I'm Battlestar. I was just like,
you know, one, that was the way it was in the comic books.
I know.
And I mean, it does kind of make sense. That's what I think government officials would kind of do. Well, you know, Captain America also had a pet dog that came into battle with him, so he really should have a pet dog as well, kind of a thing. Or he also had a sidekick, and he has to have the shield. And like
Right.
they would just, all they would do is go
how many
through,
boxes can we check off?
Exactly. We need to make it so it's as close to Captain America, the original Captain America, and not think of, well, you know, it's a new generation. What would a Captain America today be like? How could, and it makes sense that they are just trying to carbon copy Captain America as much as they can to make it so they can be like, well, you know, Captain America really never left. He was always a part of America, kind of a thing.
And Blade brings up a really good point here in the chat. Blade says John Walker just seems like the Captain America that the government's always wanted, a poster boy.
Yes.
Yeah, he's sitting there rehearsing. He's got this interview with Good Morning America. It's kind of like, takes off the helmet. It's got like the nice swoopy hair. I was like, oh, it is very poster boy, and it's so much. Like, as much as I want to dislike him, a part of me dislike what the government is making him do. Like, obviously, him accepting the job, so you can't say, like, he didn't know as he walked in. No, you knew. But the government, I feel like, is always going to turn it into that thing that they want to mold it. You know, when the second Sam gave up that shield, gave it right back, it's kind of like, well, you knew this was going to be a possibility. So, like, it's just really sucky too. I wonder, and I don't know because I'm not... haven't read any of the comics with the U.S. agent in it, so I don't know if this is how there's a hair on my lip. It's not
it's
here.
just not coming off.
But I wonder if John Walker will, by the end of the series, kind of realize, like, hey, I don't want to be the government's puppet. I don't want to do this. And for him to, you know, obviously, I feel like he's gonna have to butt heads with Bucky and Sam first, and then kind of come to that resolution of like, we are better if we work together. But I get why you guys we're working this way. Let me work with you now instead of you working with me because I'm calling the shot because I'm the new Captain America. So I wonder if that will come to a head in the series. I don't know. That's a little bit of speculation, fan theory for you there. So yeah.
One thing that I do like that they are doing is that they are starting, everyone in this series so far is they're doing a really good job on making their story sympathetic. Even if it's someone that you don't want to like, if it's like the Flag Smashers who are being branded as a terrorist, you could still kind of, once I think you learn their story, they're going to become more of a sympathetic character. Same thing with John Walker. He wants to be a good Captain America. He wants to be what his country needs, but it's going to be that drive that might misguide him. I personally think I have a whole conspiracy theory about what might happen since they have now introduced Zemo into it. And I'm like, you know, Zemo's thing is to get superheroes to fight each other instead of him getting involved in the fight himself. He's like, I'm not, what is it? He said it in Civil War, where he's like, I'm not strong enough to go up against Captain America or Iron Man or any of these other superheroes. However, if I get you two to fight each other, that's one less superhero that's going to be standing at the end. And I didn't have to do anything.
Right.
I can see him getting into John Walker's head and being able to twist his mind,
And he
twist
doesn't
it.
have the experience.
He doesn't have the experience
like
of
Bucky
dealing
and
with.
Sam and
They
Steve.
know what Zemo is all about. They know he's manipulative. They know he's able to tweak people's perceptions on reality in a sense. And I think he's going to mess with John Walker's head a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to end up really affecting him personally. That it's going to mess up. John Walker has good intentions, but what is it? The way to hell is paved with good intentions.
And I like that they are kind of giving us a more sympathetic side to John Walker, to see that he is, maybe a little bit more than just like a wink in the new Captain America sort of deal, like the face we nobody was happy to see at the end of episode 1. But a lot of you guys are saying this in the comments, and a lot of you guys said it in the comment of the video for episode 1 as well as 2, is like, how much can you really trust exactly what John Walker is saying to us? True. Is because they want you to like him and sign the toys and all this stuff, because he's supposed to be like the new captain, the new face for America. So, but then we've seen in other series as well as like for Marvel, like if they start off that nice, how genuine is he? How genuine is he saying any of this stuff? And he is a little bit of cocky, it showed when he was breaking Bucky out when he got arrested. It was like, I did that, and like kind of taunting them as they both walked out of the police station with the police siren. And I was like, can we not do, like, Steve would never do that. And I get it, you're not Steve, okay? Nobody can be Steve, but you said it so heartfeltly on Good Morning America in the show. But how much of that was like a put on?
Yeah,
we're just gonna put it on. It was rehearsed.
How much of that was the smile and the wink?
Right. It was like, I don't want to do like a whole Hayward scenario where like, oh, I like this guy, he seems cool, and then like up the next episode you're like, I hate him, he was a jerk from the beginning, I knew it. So I feel like there's a lot more story to be told with John Walker. Obviously, the olive branch, I use that lightly, was extended, and it was shot down by both
multiple times
Sam and Bucky, because I feel like in their hearts they kind of feel, nah. I think he almost had Sam in the back of the Humvee.
Yeah.
Until he said, I gotta have one of Cap's wingman on my side, and I was like, no, it sounded really heartfelt until you said it, and you failed, and now either one of these guys are gonna believe you.
It turned everything that you just said into I don't really care about you. I'm more cared about what other people think of my image of, since I have Captain America's wingman at my side, that makes me more legitimate as Captain America. And I'm just like,
felt cheap. I felt cheap listening to that line. I was like, no.
Like, you were good. I'm wondering what would have happened if John Walker actually didn't say that last line.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing.
Then maybe there was a chance, but I feel like eventually the truth was going to come out, and his truth, it would have, if it didn't come out during that scene, would have come out later, and eventually it would have ended up where exactly where they are. But also in the show, I love that they showed this. I wasn't expecting it. But Bucky was like, hey, to Sam, you got to meet this person. I didn't tell anybody about this. So they go and meet Isaiah, and Isaiah also has the super soldier serum in him and has a whole history with Bucky. But I think what the real takeaway wasn't just that, like, he knew Bucky from this, he kind of had to clean up their mess, go in and get Bucky, finish the job, but it was his treatment afterwards. He was successful. And then what do? They kind of like, treated him like a test subject.
Yeah.
For I think he said in the show 30 years.
30 years
which
in
was
prison.
Awful and disgusting. And that's not in no way to treat any human being, no less a war hero. So I love the insertion of that. I don't think it's going to be the last time we see Isaiah for some reason. I think he's a real, yes, exactly. I feel like if they need a little bit of enlightenment, I'm not expecting Isaiah to like put on the suit and fight. No. But if he did, that would be pretty cool.
I think it would be really cool. And also, I think it's going to give them some perspective on the past. And I hope that I would love to see him, kind of show up after a big event that happens, and he goes, hey, this is something you guys need to know about.
Right.
And it's just cool because it shows that dark history of the super soldier serum and the dark history of the government. So I'm excited for them to expand on that a lot more. And also there was a young man who opened the door.
We are speculating. I have to rewatch the episode. I can't remember if he said his name or not, but our viewers in the comment section of our reaction video for episode 2 was saying that in the comics, Isaiah has a grandson named Eli, who later becomes the Patriot, as part of the Young Avengers. So we already know that they're setting up Young Avengers. So like if this happens, he 100% needs to be in it. This could be just either here we go with the fan theories. Here we go. It's not quite WandaVision level, but we're maybe starting. Like it would be really cool to see.
Yes.
So I look forward to seeing the two of them hopefully back for at least one more episode, even if it's just in one scene. I think that would be really, really great. And with that leads us to the scene outside of Isaiah's house where Sam and Bucky are basically having a very heated conversation. How come you never told me about this? I hid it. I didn't want to tell Steve. He's had too much going on in this. How come nobody knows about someone like him is just like you, that literally knew you. Couldn't believe it. But it wasn't the argument in that show. It was in that moment, but it was the cops that freaking pulled up.
Oh man, yeah.
And this is something we see today. We saw it this years ago. We see it today. So very, very relevant, very, very real. Two cops seeing two guys argue. One happens to be black, one happens to be white. So naturally, sorry, sir, is this guy bothering you? Because it has to be the other guy's fault, right? Based on his skin tone. So let's just not ask for the other guy for ID because he can't be doing anything wrong.
Yeah. And immediately you saw Sam's just like, what?
He's like, I'm not giving him, and we're just talking. And we are just talking. So like, I am really, really glad that they put that in there because it's real. It's relevant to today. It was relevant years ago and it still is today. And I think it's important to show that in media, even in a Marvel, show. I think it's really great that they touched on that. And which of course also led to Bucky's arrest.
Which ended up leading up to one of my favorite moments in this episode, to where it went to the emergency therapy session after he got arrested, to where he got arrested and you're like, oh yeah, you missed your what is that, court appointed therapy session.
Right.
And it's kind of like, Bucky, you must have known that you would have gotten in trouble if you did not show up to this kind of a thing. Yeah. So that he risked this just so he could help Sam out, kind of a thing.
Like, I wonder if he has some sort of, if the cops, because there was the one initial patrol car that pulled up, right? Because they saw them having the argument, but there was a second car that pulled up. So I wonder if Bucky had some sort of like, how are they tracking him so that they knew where he was? Because it wasn't until the first pair of cops that went away after they were like, oh, that's an Avenger. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, he shouldn't be treated differently because he's famous for being, obviously, one, save the world, and two, an Avenger. Like, everybody should have been treated equally, and you don't discriminate like that. But I wonder if the second patrol car pulled up because they were actually looking for Bucky and they were tracking him. Like, does he have like those ankle, the house arrest like ankle?
Probably not.
Probably not, because he's been pardoned. But he was supposed to check in as a part of the deal.
Yeah.
So I was just curious. Sessions. I was just curious because when the cops were like, "We'll be right back," and then when they came back, it was to be like, "Hey, Bucky, you're under arrest. We're sorry, but we got to do this." So like, I wonder. Amr says, how can they not recognize Sam? I don't know. I feel like his face has been plastered everywhere, with or without him being in the Falcon wings.
Yeah, and not only that, but he stood next to Captain America for a long time. I'm pretty sure they had wanted posters of him and Captain America up when they were on the run. So his face should be very recognizable, especially to law enforcement.
Yeah, the kids recognized him.
Yeah,
like, hey, you're Falcon.
I like that conversation that he had with the kid. He's like, yeah, Black Falcon. Why am I Black Falcon just because I'm black? He's like, what are you, black kid? And then Bucky was like,
no. Jaden says because he didn't have his goggles. It's like a Clark Kent thing. Now you see me, now you don't with the glasses.
Oh yeah, very
I
much.
guess, I don't know, maybe because people associate him with the wings, so when they don't see like the superhero equipment armor suit
Mm-hmm.
thing, they're like, hey, you're not the Falcon. Yeah, I don't know. I wondered the same, Amr. I really wondered the same when we were watching. I was like, how do you? Because obviously the other cop recognized him. I was like,
Yeah.
that's an Avenger.
Like, dude,
That's an
dude.
Avenger. Yeah.
And then you saw like the
The
realization
realizations.
on the other cop. Oh.
The blood went from his face. Like, oh no, oh no. I meant no disrespect, even though I was so disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And also let's talk a little bit about the Flag Smashers before we end our discussion. So, we saw obviously a very, very awesome fight sequence on these two like semi trucks side by
Oh
side.
my
They were
God.
jumping from one to the other, and of course, they all have been, I guess, taking the super soldier serum, so they're all super strong. And it definitely showed that like with Bucky and Sam and the help of John Walker and I guess now do I have to
They
say
still got
Battlestar?
away.
They still were able to get away. So it just really shows that how strong they are, and they also have a mission and they
Mm-hmm.
have a purpose and they believe very much in that mission. So they were gonna at whatever cost, because you saw that one guy at the end sacrificed himself for their message, which is one world, one people, so that they can get away with all the, I guess, like the vaccines and the medicine or whatever on that plane. It's interesting. I really would love to dig a little bit more into the Flag Smashers. And I want to know, I feel like somebody said this in the comments already in our other video, but who was texting Carly?
Yeah.
Like, you
You
took what was mine and
and
now
now
I'm
I'm gonna
going to
have.
kill you, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something really dark like that. I was like, oh no, could it have been that guy that ran up? He was in the coat or something like that, and he was on the phone kind of just
Maybe.
running into it. Was really, really quick. It was so quick. uh Jack says, I think it was Zemo. I don't know if it would be Zemo
Because he
because
was
he is
locked.
locked away, but it could also be a Zemo henchman.
Yeah.
Those can exist, but I actually think it's completely, I feel like it would be separate. But I don't know.
Very true. And also, all they really said, I think, were medical supplies, or they said vaccines, or they said some kind of medicine that
Yeah.
was in the back. That's what they might have just thought that it was, but the Flag Smashers knew that mixed in here there was some super soldier serum.
Oh yes, there it is. The power broker, Adnan Kabir. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the guy, but I don't know enough about Power Broker. Yeah, you guys are saying it now in the chat. Thank you for putting that in there. I don't know. Do you know anything about Power Broker? I am not as familiar.
I'm unfortunately not that familiar with Power Broker.
So let us know. I don't want you guys to type like frantically, but let us know what you can about Power Broker so we can learn just a little bit about it before the show is over. And then one of the other topics we got to talk about a little bit of the probably one of my favorite scenes, because it was like fun to watch just because the chemistry between Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie is so good.
Mm-hmm.
But the therapy session between two of them, and she was trying different strategies, and she was like, all right, soul gazing,
Mm-hmm.
or soul gazer or something like that, how they sat close, and I felt like the which way you're gonna go, and then they pull each other's chair in closer. I felt like that was very much an improv scene.
I think a lot of improv,
because they're if you watch them interviews, the way they play off of each other is hilarious, and it shows in the show. So I really feel like that was partially improv, just a little bit.
mm-hmm.
But
I liked when they were like, well, where are you going to put your knee? Where are you going to put your knee?
I'll just come right here. Yeah, it was really, really, really great. But a lot of also very emotional stuff came out in that scene, where he was kind of like, well, why'd you give up the shield, man?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Steve gave it to you, and how
he trusted you.
What would you say if I felt that I was doing the right thing? Like, all these like really great conversations and feelings came out, and I really loved seeing that. And what Bucky said really hit it. I almost cried, but I like stopped myself. But he was mad at Sam because he doesn't want Steve to have been wrong about Sam, because Steve believed in Sam so much and also believed in Bucky so much. So if Steve's wrong about Sam,
mm-hmm.
then he's wrong about me. And that Bucky's been kind of trying this inner turmoil about himself, kind of like he likes to suffer in his own pain, which is, and I get it, because that, like, the man went through a lot.
Yeah, he has a lot of memories of killing people, of that he's like that he had no control over, of whether he should or should not kill them. And yeah, the fact that he's constantly having these nightmares, and I'm like, and he's out of time. Not only is he 106 years old,
yeah,
but like his
he's
best
old.
friend that he lost got back and now is lost again.
Because he's right.
Kind of a thing.
And then to see, oh God, I'll never forget the slow push in on Bucky's face as he's watching the news, the Good Morning America segment with John Walker, and it's just all there. His face said so much of the what are they doing? Oh God, he gave up the shield. Oh, they gave it to this guy. What are they doing with him? He's the new captain. It's just all these the thought process showing on his face spoke volume, and I really love what the series is doing. That they're not really trying to rush too much. It doesn't have to be beginning to end action. I love these breaks, a little bit of room for comedy, so a little bit of breathing room, so it doesn't feel too heavy, touching on the real world problems as far as racial injustice goes, and the dealing with PTSD and how now they're going to work together, and what is the bigger, what's the end game here, and I really want to know more about the Flag Smashers, which I think in the next episode will come up, and maybe Sharon shows up in episode 3.
Yeah,
I'm waiting.
Honestly,
for her.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's the one that is going to be able to drop some of the exposition on the Flag Smashers, and we'll get some flashbacks from the Flag Smashers themselves,
and also the blip, because they keep talking about it. So
I want to know more about the blip.
Yes, a glimpse into that, like show us what the world was like, during the blip, because they showed in WandaVision when Monica came back how chaotic it was, right? But then that was kind of it, because there was so much other stuff that they needed to cover as well in that show. So I'm hoping they do a little bit in this one, because Spider-Man Far From Home really didn't get much of it, to be honest with you. Like, there was more of like a haha joke.
Yeah.
So interesting. I need some old school in my life. Comments in the chat.
I love that name.
That's great. Comments. Personally, I think it was Walmart Captain America, John Walker, who sent the threatening text saying, "You took what was mine, and I'm gonna find you and kill you."
Ooh, that's an interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting play.
Yeah,
that would be a very twist of we have this image of who he's pretending to be, and then who he really is.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you guys, we will have to continue this discussion next Saturday once we see episode 3. And don't forget to tune in on, I think it's, early Friday morning when we drop our reaction video for episode 3 for all the new episodes of Falcon and the Winter Soldier up until episode 6. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with all the videos that we release, whether it's a movie review or trailer reaction or show reaction for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Go ahead and thumbs up this video, because YouTube likes that a lot. That algorithm really, really helps this channel so much. We have such a great time chatting with you every week, specifically about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but also about other news, Disneyland or new casting news or whatever weird pop culture things that come up, like Peeps and Pepsi. That's going to be a thing.Ey're doing a marshmallow flavor Pepsi drink apparently, but you can't buy it in stores.
Like, you can only
win it in a giveaway.
Like, what was it? Like the pink
mac and cheese. The candy flavored mac and cheese.
Candy flavored mac and cheese.
Nope.
I'm sorry. Nope. If there's anyone out there who actually got to try it, please put it down in the comment and let us know if it was just good, bad, or absolutely
do not try. Or
Pasco,
do not collect 200.
Burn with or kill with fire. Kill it with fire.
Kill it with fire. Just burn it on the stove. Don't ever eat it. So you guys, we're going to go ahead and take off, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. We love chatting with you. Thank you for your support. Hustle Mandalorian says, that sounds horrible. Both sounds horrible, yes. I remember the first time when I came to the States around Easter time and I started to see Peeps. How can you avoid like Easter
everywhere
in the store? Because it's like, it's cute, bunnies and like little cheeks and the Peeps in the packages are so cute. And I'm like, I love cute things. And I was like, oh my God, what is it? So I remember buying a pack and I was so excited. I came home, unwrapped it, and I love marshmallows. I was like, this is going to be great. And I bit into a giant crunch from all the sugar. It was not what I expected. And that was the last time I ever put a Peep in my mouth. That was it. Never again.
Happened again. Just once.
But also, if you put the Peep and the peach flavor Pepsi in front of me, I probably will want to take a sip because curiosity.
Yeah. And if we ever get one, we're going to film our reaction.
Yeah. If we ever get one, we'll film a reaction, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. We will see you on Wednesday for another live stream. And say bye, Navi.
Bye, Navi.
Aw, cute. See you guys later. Bye.
You're such a cutie.